Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, we're going to be doing a deep dive in how to keep the ball in Football Manager. And let's get started with an overview. When building a tactical philosophy around a certain play style, it means making sure everything in the tactic is working together as a cohesive unit. The more synergy we can get with our system means the more effective that play style will be. And I get it, this is a very amorphous philosophical approach to tactical building, so let's go over some actual examples. There are three elements in regards to building a tactic: your formation, your player roles, and your instructions, whether that's team or player instructions. Obviously, we can mix and match these three elements to create any type of playstyle we want to achieve. But since we're talking about how to keep the ball, we want to focus on getting each of these three elements focused on possession. The first thing I do when building a tactical style is choosing a formation. Ideally, the formation would match the playstyle we're trying to achieve. For me, a 4-3-3 is a perfect formation to begin with a possession style. The three midfielders will make sure we're never truly outnumbered in the midfield when defending, and they also give a ton of versatility when choosing player roles in attack. The formation also gives two players on each flank. This stretches the field while also giving various passing options out wide. And the space in the attacking midfield area is perfect for a striker to drop into, which is good for keeping the ball. Okay, we've got a formation, but now we need to start choosing our player roles, which is a vital aspect to a possession system. And as I was working on this tactic, it started with an idea on what a player does when they have the ball. For the sake of this video, a player has two options when they receive the ball. They can either dribble it or they can pass it. To start, dribbling would be what I call a selfish trait. And this is not a negative thing because dribbling is a good way to unlock a stubborn defense. It gives more individual freedom to a player since it's up to them to make something happen. And dribbling is good for creating something from nothing, an especially useful aspect if your team is struggling to create chances. But the trade-off is that a player that wants to dribble more is more volatile. This means it's much easier for them to lose the ball because they can find themselves isolated from their teammates. Passing, on the other hand, naturally, would be an unselfish trait. It's much more team-oriented as everyone needs to work together to get involved. And importantly related to the theme of this video, it allows us to be more efficient in keeping the ball. Of course, it can be harder to score goals since the whole team has to contribute, and this can highlight weak links in your team. In relation, you may have heard the term passing for passing's sake, and that applies here. Alright, the point of that comparison is for me to essentially say for this tactic, passing is good and dribbling is bad. So let's head to the next section and start talking about player roles. We've got our formation and we've got some ideas. So choosing player roles, I want to avoid ones that like to dribble, which means avoiding any player roles that have dribble more as a hard-coded instruction. Take for example, the inside forward. It has the hard-coded instruction of dribble more. If we look at the description of the dribble more instruction, it tells me exactly why I don't want to use it in this tactic. That's because it tells players to be more individualistic, which is the opposite of what I'm trying to do. So when choosing my player roles, I don't want to use any that has dribble more as an instruction because I want my team to focus on passing, not dribbling. But there is a caveat to remember with this approach, because the more you lean into a possession style, the harder it's going to be for your team to score goals. Because we're taking away some of the individual brilliance from our players, and that can lead to stunted attacks. So I need to balance the play roles to make sure we're still providing enough attacking threat. Which brings me back to the 4-3-3. We start with the striker. I've chosen the deep line forward on support. Not only is it a role perfect for the formation, because the striker drops into that open space, but on support, the role will hold the ball up as a hard-coded instruction. This instruction is perfect for keeping the ball. In the center midfield, I've chosen two attack-focused roles: the central midfielder on attack and the mezzala on support. This gives us two attacking threats who focus on the center of the field and the half space, helping counteract the issue I just mentioned. Behind them, I've chosen one of the most important roles for my possession philosophy, the halfback. It gives us a shielding defensive midfielder behind those attacking central midfielders, but the role also creates a back three when we have the ball. And that idea is one of the best ways to help keep the ball. The halfback will be moving between two central defenders. This role is perfect for the tactic since they're usually more passive when in possession and will focus on making the short, simple passes. This would be compared to their more aggressive, potentially wasteful counterparts, the ball-playing defender and the no-nonsense center back. On the left flank, I've got the advanced playmaker on support and the fullback on attack. The playmaker wants to cut inside and the fullback wants to get further forward, creating a nice left flank partnership. On the right side, if you've seen my videos, you already know where we're going, because I needed an attack-focused role that didn't have dribble more as an instruction. This makes it very difficult to choose a role, but conveniently, we still have my favorite, the Raumdeuter. And behind this role, I've got the inverted wingback on support. He's going to move into the midfield to help provide support for the more attacking teammates ahead of him. For team instructions, I started with the positive mentality because of the description. It aims to move the ball around the park and patiently probe the final third, which is exactly what I want. I've chosen much shorter passing because of its description. Prioritize keeping hold of the ball. I prefer the higher tempo to tell the team to make the decisions more quickly. And keeping with the theme, I've also given the dribble less instruction to focus even more on passing. In transition, we're going to distribute to center backs. And if we lose it, we're going to try and win it back. And if we win it back, we're going to hold our shape. Finally, out of possession, we'll do a high press and we'll trigger that press a little more often. Let's win it back and do it higher up the field. Okay, we've got our tactics sorted out, we just need to pick our team. And like the Bayern tactic we looked at, I didn't put players into their preferred player roles or position, I only worried about what the tactic needed. Because we are back with Chelsea today. And this gives us our final 4-3-3 tactic with our player roles and instructions added in. There are no individual player instructions or any instructions outside of what you see here. Let's head to the next section and start checking out some highlights. We'll start the highlights with my central defender on the ball right outside the box. It's right after a turnover, so we're starting our possession. I'll let this one play out in full so you can focus on our passing. It very much fits that probing description used with the positive mentality. This one is very similar. Starts with our central defender on the ball. Again, as the clip plays out, note how our passing is trying to figure out how to unlock the defense. The nice thing about having a quality team is that we get a pass that unlocks the defense from our advanced playmaker. We'll begin this one with our throw-in. These highlights, as you may have noticed, are going to be focused more on the tactic itself rather than going over the individual player roles. I really want to point out our passing and how if there isn't a pass that leads to an immediate chance, we just recycle it until we find a way through. So this one will start with the opponent's goalie on the ball. If you remember, this tactic has the hold shape instruction, meaning when we win the ball, we're not going to press the issue to get players forward on the counter. Our deep lying forward will intercept the ball and push forward. An immediate chance isn't on, so we settle back into our possession phase. And because of our patience, the striker ends up with the goal anyway. I'll say this, a possession tactic is not about passivity. It's about passing up multiple good chances for one great chance. Here, we're building out from the back with a sweeper keeper on the ball. With this tactic, we don't pass it just to pass it. If we get a chance, it doesn't matter if it's early in the possession or later. We just want the best quality chance we can get. And this last one isn't a breakdown or anything, I just wanted to show how Cole Palmer always seemed to get these crazy goals in my videos. With this perspective, we're behind the opponent's goal and they're on the ball right now. The ball will go back to their goalie and Palmer will eventually intercept a ball. This match versus Aston Villa would be an ideal result for us. Only a few shots on target, but we're efficient in finishing. And thankfully, we also dominate the possession battle. Near the end of October, we're in a good spot, sitting 4th in the table. And our tactical philosophy has been well implemented. We're first in the league with 61% possession so far. And while it's not the most meaningful stat, we're dominating in passes completed, with over 1,000 more passes completed than the second place team. The last thing I want to go over are some adjustment ideas that you can make, because again, this tactic was focused on keeping the ball, but I made it as a template so then you can adjust it further to how you want to play. So this tactic isn't the best at scoring goals, so you can start to implement some of the more selfish roles if you have this issue too. Easy swaps into the tactic would be the inside forward, especially on attack, or the winger, or even a wingback. If you want an even more pressing focused tactic, you can use roles like the pressing forward, ball-winning midfielder, or roaming playmaker. Or if you want a little more defensive focused one, especially if you're closing out a match, you can drop the wingers to the midfield to create a 4-1-4-1, and then use roles like the defensive winger or the wide midfielder. If you'd like some player role shirts or maybe a digital FM planner, you can check out the Half Space Apparel online store. I've also got a Patreon account if you'd like to support the channel. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.